Hello everybody and welcome back to the Finding Your Feet podcast. This is a podcast that is dedicated to helping you live your best life.
Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome back to another episode.
We're back.
We are back. Really sorry we missed an upload last week. We're like the most consistent queens ever and have been for like 3 years. Oh my god, have we missed our anniversary? I think we might have. No, it must be coming up soon. It's the 22nd of April, I think.
Yeah, I know it's definitely
Which
April.
means it's in like a week.
Oh my god, we nearly did miss it.
Oh my god, we're so rubbish.
I know,
And
what the hell?
celebration.
Are you sure it's 22nd?
I think it's something like that, yeah.
Oh wow,
It's
we'll have to
definitely
check
near the end of this month.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to arrange a party.
We do, 3 years.
Oh my god.
We're still here.
We're still bloody here. But we weren't here last week and we're really sorry about that if you were wanting an episode and we just were not there.
Yeah. We've been busy bees, haven't we?
Yeah, and to be honest, I just felt like absolute shit last week.
It was one of those weeks.
Yeah, it wasn't the week. I think because we had the 4-day weekend for the Easter bank holiday threw us off time-wise.
Yeah.
But also, like, I just felt so emotionally burnt out and overwhelmed. I was like, had my period and I was having such a crazy period because I've just recently had the copper IUD put in. And I'm actually, for anyone wondering what that is like, I'm having a good experience with it. Apart from the side effect is it makes your periods more intense, like cramping. I mean, we went on a walk and I was like crouching down the forest.
Oh yeah.
Asking Mother Nature to heal my womb. But like, I just didn't have it last week. Just didn't have it. And it's really hard to come and record when like you feel like complete shite.
Yeah. It's like when you don't feel like you have much for yourself, you physically can't
Give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't even have it for yourself.
Yeah.
That's why I think we have to like sometimes make that decision to be like, actually no.
Just need to just take the week off because I'd rather take the week off uploading than upload like some shite.
Yeah, exactly. If being like really tired.
Yeah, that's going to be cool for you guys to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's good to talk about the IUD as well because I feel like all you ever hear is like horror stories.
Yeah. Actually, like, yeah, I'm having a very good experience with it. Obviously, it's a bit painful when you get it put in, but quite not for too long. And then the cramps are quite, a bit intense, but you just take pain, like, ibuprofen or whatever, and it gets rid of it. And then your period's a bit longer and a bit heavier, but like it was all manageable.
Yeah.
And your body gets used to over time, so that will all calm down anyway. But then when you're not on your period and you're not getting premenstrual cramps or anything, I don't even know I've got anything in me. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm just completely normal.
Yeah.
And for me, I didn't want anything hormonal. So I've gone for that and tracking on natural cycles as well.
Buzzing. Yeah, no, it's good.
Hormone-free queen.
Yeah, we love the hormone-free life. You can take them along on the journey, keep them updated.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Because any girls might be thinking about getting it and wondering.
Yeah, because there's loads of like horror stories I think online. I think if you like already had, I mean, I'm not a GP, so please take this with a pinch of salt. I'm not a doctor, but like I think if you already had bad periods, if you already suffered with painful periods, then maybe it's not the best for you because it will probably intensify that. Whereas my periods before were absolutely fine, never got cramps. They weren't really heavy. It was just really normal. It was quite easy breezy. In terms of like physical symptoms and stuff. So like in terms of it intensifying, it already wasn't bad. So. And I just think like the side effects you do get, for me personally, I found they're worth it for they outweigh the the pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah.
So, I'm all for it. So far anyway. Let's see.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
But obviously, we're all about taking action. So I was feeling like shit last week, I think probably because I had my period and stuff as well.
Yeah.
But also I've been like I said, like emotionally overwhelmed, like a bit burnt out. Just because like just been really busy, everything's really busy, like so when you're working so much all the time and like you're always trying to like keep things moving, and it's like it just it catches up with you.
Yeah, it does.
And it just was catching up with me. But like I've said this week, I'm claiming it as a better week. I'm taking control, and I'm like just gone back to like, okay, what is it that makes me feel calm and like you know, and I've been listening to some podcasts that have like given me some little bite-sized bits that are like changing my mindset. But I saw this thing that Ali Abdaal posted, and it was about like basically taking the importance down a notch on what you think everything is that you need to do, because that's so true. Because I actually feel like with burnout, when you've got like a list of things you need to do, whatever, most of the time like what's making you feel burnt out is the emotional overwhelm, not actually like the physical exhaustion of working so much. Because I actually don't feel like I physically overwork myself. I think it's the emotional overwhelm that makes you like burn out and like then procrastinate and like get like all clouded and like can't see clearly. So he just put this thing on saying he like sent it out to his YouTube, like his email subscribers, but he put it on his YouTube as well, like a little picture. It just said basically like things you're doing, tasks you're doing aren't life or death, unless you're a doctor, then maybe they are. Mine definitely aren't. So just take the importance of them down a notch. Because I was definitely putting too much importance on like certain tasks on my to-do list, and then you like think that they're bigger than they are in terms of like outcome, and that like makes you procrastinate on it, because you're like, oh, it's gonna take loads of my energy, or like if it could go one way or the other, it could be a big yes or a big no, and that's scary. So it's like, oh, if I just don't do it, then nothing happens. Do you know what I mean? And like as well, he put in it about that it's kind of a reminder that nothing's that important. Get through your tasks, do your work, but also you're allowed to have fun as well. Because that's, you know, so that's what I'm doing this week, is I'm like looking at my to-do list, I'm like, nothing's that important. Like it is important, and I have to do it, but it's not that important that I need to cry about it. So like you just need to tick things off and do it. Like, because I think when you think it's more important than it actually is, you put that perfectionism standard on what you're trying to do as well, which also makes you procrastinate and not do what you need to do. Because sometimes I'll even find it where I'm like, oh, sit down to do a task, and I'm like, because I always notice I'll like start writing it or doing what I'm doing, and then I'll pick up my phone and go on TikTok, and then I'll like write again, and then I'll go on something else, like because I'm like trying to get a short-term pleasure out of just stopping the pain of doing this task. But when I always then re-talk to myself and say like, no expectations, just hash down on paper what you need to do. It doesn't need to be perfect, and then piece it together after, but just get the bulk of whatever it is you need to do, just write it out. It doesn't need to be in perfect form, and then at least you've just got a starting point. And then that always gets the ball going and gets you to start, because you're not being perfectionist about it. So so basically this week, that's what I'm doing to calm the fuck down. Nothing's that important. And also I listened to this really good podcast in the gym this morning, like what a way to start your Monday morning. I was literally there like pumping my biceps, lifting weights, and listening to Jay Shetty interview Ed Milet. And Ed
is that the first time he's had him on?
I think he's probably had him on before, but it was just a recent one, I think. But it was really good. I love Ed Milet, and I obviously love Jay Shetty as well. But Ed was saying, because he coaches loads of athletes and like high performing professionals and stuff like that, like he'll coach them on their mindset. I mean, not like physically coach them, but he said that like so many people focus too much on the outcome rather than like the execution. So say you are like an athlete and you're like going to go run in a running race in the Olympics. Like if you're just so focused on gold and are you going to win, and put too much of your energy into that, you'll like not put enough energy into like just your execution. And obviously you want to win, and like that's good to focus on, like that you want to win and like put that into your awareness as well. But like if you put too much of that in, you're going to like overthink that and then take away from what's actually going to make you win, which is the execution. It's like I noticed that I do it, like even like with the podcast or whatever, I'm like, oh, this would be a good person to like brand sponsor the show, or this would be a good guest to have on. And then I'm like, the outcome is a yes, a no, or an ignore. And then sometimes I can focus too much on that it could be a yes, a no, or an ignore. Probably more that it could be a no or an ignore more than a yes. And then I'm like, and then it stops me executing. It stops when actually all I need to do is focus on, I've got an idea to email this person, so I'm just going to put this email together and send it, and then just see what happens. And I was like, wow, so that's also what I'm going to do. So these are like the ways I'm managing my emotional burnout and overwhelm.
I love
Is
it.
those like mindset shifts. And then I'm just really like focusing again on my routine, like what makes me feel good, like is really consistent gym like plan, you know, sleep, meditate, drink your water, have some chocolate.
All our favourite things.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely love it. I feel like there's just so much action taking there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that importance thing, like I'm not even just saying this like you've mentioned, I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing that. But that is actually what I've been doing the last few weeks. I don't know. It's just
I feel
weird
like you have been doing that. I see that in your work flow.
Yeah, literally. It's really weird because when you sent me this one, I was like, that's so weird. That's
you like
literally what I've
power
been
through
doing.
things. You like hammer things out. I'm like, Abby's just...
Some days I do. I feel like our day after Easter break, I was like, I feel so refreshed. I feel amazing. I literally had the most productive day of my life. And the next day I was like,
I gave everything to yesterday. Now I've got nothing.
I gave everything to the first day of the week, and the rest of the week I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. No, but yeah, no, I have been doing that because I think what actually started it was I was trying to find it to show you before, but I couldn't find it. Was this really stupid video on Instagram of this guy like pretty much taking the piss. He was like on a beach and he was like, I know you've got like he was like saying a motivational speech, but it's kind of like a joke, and he was like, I know you've got this deadline. I know you're trying to finish this work. I know you're trying to make this like this thing work. But like it's not that important. Like it's like it will figure itself out. But right now, like you're getting too stressed, and it's like it's not that important. Like it's gonna work out. And then ever since watching that video, I've been like, do you know what? Yeah, like don't. It's like the emotional investment. Like
yeah,
you still. It does not mean you don't care. It's still gonna work to a really high standard and like do what you want to do and get the results. But it's like not putting that massive emotional burden on yourself of like, oh my God, this has got to be right. I really want this to look good. Oh my God, but I know this is going to take me so long, so now I'm going to procrastinate. It's like that's what stops you. And I definitely noticed that stopping me as well. So I think that is really good advice.
Yeah, because it's all like a mental barrier. So it's like...
Yeah. And as well, I think what helps me is the fact that my sister's a nurse and her stuff is life or death.
Yeah.
Like, because in all the stuff they do, it is life or death. Like if they give someone the wrong medicine or something, that is life or death. So like sometimes she says stories and she's like going on about this stuff and I'm like, God, I felt really stressed today. And I was like, I was only making a social media post. Do you know what I mean? It's not to say that like our work isn't important, because it is. Yeah. And we change lives in our own way. So it's just very different work. But it does take you out of like the spiral that you can get yourself in where you're like, actually, this isn't life or death. All you can do in every single moment is just try your best and like go slowly with compassion. If you literally can't do that day, you can't do it that day. But yeah, I think it really helps you take away like the craziness that your mind can convince you sometimes.
Yeah, because you're in like a bit like fight or flight as well. So like all you like can see is like where you like you can just see your shit in front of you. You haven't got bird's eye view perspective on actually how life or death is it, and like that actually it probably is manageable, but everything feels so unmanageable when you're like teetering on burnout. Yeah,
well that's the thing, it literally is that. But yeah, that thing that you said as well about like just ticking it off, I have been doing that as well, and I think it just really helps. Like, you know, like obviously a lot of people and probably a lot of like coaches talk about like decision fatigue and stuff. Like the less decisions you have, the better. So like like athletes also like Barack Obama and stuff, like he'll always know what he's going to wear or know what he's going to eat. So it's like reducing the decisions to then the really important stuff you actually have energy for. And that's what I've been like doing is like, I mean, I've always done this and I've always talked about this, is like writing a to-do list. But I've been writing it like literally just like everything that I need to do. Like even if it's like, oh, I know I need to email that woman, it's literally going to take 5 minutes. But I'll still write it. So then like, I don't know if it's really a good or a bad thing, but if I'm like, I don't want to procrastinate today, so I kind of like go into autopilot and it's like I literally look at that task and I do it and then I tick it and then I move on. You know, like instead of being like, because for me, I get overwhelmed because I'm like, oh my God, but I know I need to do that. I know I need to do that.
And you like jump from thing to
thing.
Yeah,
and I start jumping and then it's like nothing's getting really done. But I think if you literally just give all your attention to each task, it's like you are a little bit on autopilot because you're just like doing this and then doing this. But then when you own a business, that's the kind of stuff you need to do. Yeah. As in there are little things that you need to get through where you can't just make somebody else do it. Like you do have to do it and it's like it's got to be signed off by you. So it's like little things like that, like just focusing on one thing and then moving on. I think really helps me.
Yeah.
Like being like a little bit of a machine, like with a conveyor belt or something.
Yeah, a little
I'm
like
turning into a robot.
yeah. A little
I'm the new
task
AI.
chicken. Yeah.
Yeah. You will hear us speak in this episode about the importance of therapy, getting to know yourself more, whether that's processing or digesting things you've been through in your childhood, in your adulthood, maybe something you went through very recently. Sometimes we need a bit of support and a bit of guidance from a professional. That is why we are very proudly sponsored by a company called BetterHelp, who are a professional online counselling service. And their mission is to make therapy more accessible and also more affordable for people all around the world. So BetterHelp is an app. It's all done online. You can set up weekly voice calls, video calls, and you can also send messages to your therapist. As it's all done online, you don't need to bother going to like a waiting room, going to meet your therapist. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. And as I said, they are trying to make it more accessible and affordable all around the world. So it is much more affordable than face-to-face traditional therapy. And you can also get 10% off your first month of therapy. So if you do want to try therapy, or maybe you're experienced with therapy and you want to try an online one and just get some extra support, then you can head to betterhelp.com/findingyourfeet. That is betterhelp.com/findingyourfeet to access your discount and get the support that you need.
So that's been my state of mind and how I'm managing my state of mind. How have you been?
Well, I've been good. I've been a bit similar with work. I've been a bit burnt out as well. But I think that's probably just because we're in a transitional stage. But yeah, little like what we just spoke about is really helping. But I really feel like at the minute, well, obviously it was like Easter, and then I also had my period last week. So it's like all this like fogginess, and now I feel like I'm out of that. And yesterday I was like, I'm so ready for like a bit of like an oomph. Do you know what I mean? I was like, in terms of like the gym, I feel like I'm working out really good, but I'm not eating right, and it's just like frustrating me. Like I'm not eating, like I'm eating like 75% all right, but then some of the things I'm eating, like they're not making me feel good, and I know I'm doing it, and like it's just annoying me. So I was like thinking yesterday, I was like, I really want like a new challenge. I was like, I don't really know what it is. So I actually haven't figured it out yet, but what I might do is my own version of that 75 hard thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but not as extreme. So like that 75 hard thing is you follow like a diet or whatever.
No, it's like, but it's your choice of the diet.
Yeah, it's your choice. But you're meant to have like no cheat meals and no alcohol. I probably wouldn't do that because I'm not asked about, I don't drink a lot anyway, so I'm not asked about being like, can't drink. But I really like how it's like 75 days, read 10 pages of your book. You got to do a 45-minute workout and a 45-minute. No, two. So like 45-minute walk,
and one of them
workout.
has to be outside.
Yeah, which I really like as well. Like that's doable. I don't know about a workout, but then I'm like, you can always do like some yoga as well. So like
or a walk.
Because I couldn't do 7 days
of
like
weightlifting. Yeah,
75 days. I would literally be like, yeah. No, I'd be like a bit dead. But yeah, I like how that like someone properly doing it is quite extreme, but I really like how it's like 75 days and you kind of like dedicated to it. And I wouldn't do the thing where like if you failed then you started again, but I admire people that are doing that, because like I was reading about it as well, and loads of people are obviously using it to really increase fitness and stuff, but it was essentially built all for like mental resilience.
Resilience.
Like the guy that created it, because
Andy Fritzeller or something.
Yeah, because it is, if you actually think about it, to dedicate yourself to that every day. It is.
It's habit building as well.
Yeah.
Because it's all that 75-day period. That's a long time to cement in a habit, like, and actually be wired as a new pathway in your brain. Yeah, because then you probably just take them all on anyway. Like my reading and stuff, I'm quite good with that anyway. But that's what I mean. I will make my own version, as in I'd want to do the meditation in there. So I'd like to switch it around. But another really exciting thing that's not very exciting is that I finally ordered my whiteboard. Oh, cool.
So the challenge will be going on the whiteboard. It's pretty big.
Oh my god, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, it's going to double up as an easel. It's pretty big.
You are giving David Goggins.
Aren't I? Yeah, exactly. Because it's like James Clear is like always on about the whiteboard, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, apparently he said like, if you want to succeide, like you have to get a whiteboard. Something like that. Like, yeah, like he's obsessed. That's why you see all these boys with whiteboards. But I just keep looking at these whiteboards and I'm like, I want a whiteboard. Yeah. I want to write my things on it. Apparently it just lets your brain actually like really see it there.
Seeing it, yeah.
And I think the way you can like tick it or like wipe it off, there's something about it.
Love it.
So the challenge is going to go on the whiteboard. and I'll figure out what it is. But yeah, I just feel like now's a good time as well, just then as well, when summer comes around and you just want to like feel healthy and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's happening. Maybe I'll fill you all in on what I decide my challenge is and whether I stick to it for 75 days. And then the other thing is that I am starting a new therapy on Thursday with someone who you've
done therapy
seen,
with. Yeah,
called Tanya.
She's
Why don't you
lovely.
tell them a little bit about her? I've never seen her yet, so
Yeah.
I already know of what you've said, but I get very good vibes.
Oh yeah, real good vibes. She's like a mix of like therapy and spiritual vibes, which I enjoy because like you got the practical stuff, but then also you're talking to the angels and the spirit guides and channeling from the universe, which is actually a very big part of your healing if you're a spiritual person, because you're getting guidance from above, which we all need. Exactly. And is very helpful. So like you need those little downloads and like messages and drop-ins to keep faith, or like to know what the next step is, because we're never alone. None of us are alone. So she's like a blend of that, which I really love. I mean, I've done loads of therapy before where it's been like nothing spiritual, just talking, and like that's great as well. It depends what your season you're in and what you need and what you like and what you're like as a person. But yeah, I did work with her. I feel like I can't remember. Was it last year? It was.
I don't know. I was trying to remember when it was,
go?
and I literally couldn't remember either.
Yeah, I started to see her at the start of last year, and worked with her for a few months, and like, very much so transformed, I must say.
Yeah, I remember hearing all the stories. And I like really she has a little angel room as well, because I really wanted to do. I could just fancy doing it in person. Yeah,
obviously, yeah. Like, pretty sure she does stuff on Skype. We'll tag her in the show notes. Everyone's probably like, "Who the fuck are you talking about?" And now you're annoying me because I want to go to this woman. I don't know. Who she is. But like, yeah, if you obviously live in the northwest of England, then you can go and see her in person, which is cool.
Yeah.
So that's exciting for you.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, there's a lot of shifts kind of happening anyway. So I feel like it's a perfect time. And I said to you yesterday, it's funny, I think when you are going to like therapy, or even maybe going to a retreat, or maybe you book a sister circle or something like that, I think just things start coming up for you and things start stirring. So then it's kind of like there, like all last year doing the course of Stella Bingham, like the group therapy would always be just like just before things would start like coming up. Or but then you say that, but then it's like whatever you think you're going to talk about, you never talk about. It's usually about something else, do you know what I mean, when you go into the therapy room. But yeah, I feel very like guided. I feel very much like just everything is in divine timing. Because I've been thinking about seeing her for months, but it just finally slotted in.
You want to go, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I am going to actually see her now. Yeah. So yeah, excited for that. I'll keep you all updated on the journey.
We love going to therapy.
We do. But apart from like that, I feel like lately I'm just like actually I think I said this I can't remember if I said this in the other episode, I can't remember, but I feel like I'm just like in my own bubble of like in the cocoon, you know, just kind of marinating at the minute, and just getting like really clear on like what I want my life to look like and what kind of energies I want to manifest into my life, and like just like intentionally co-creating with the universe.
That's nice.
Like when I saw a quote yesterday, and it was like I should have like saved it, but it was saying that like you always feel like the universe is in on it all, like when things come, like when things happen, but like all those moments like maybe of loneliness, or the moments of like that don't make sense, or you feel like nothing's happening, they're actually the moments as well when it's like fully big time in. But I think you forget that because you're like, well, nothing's really happening now, but there actually is like so much happening. Like I'm probably putting more energy into myself now than I probably ever have, and like that is like you get so many rewards from that, but it's not like instant rewards at all. It's more like changing like what you're consuming, what you're allowing like people to say around you. I'm like, probably I'm being that annoying friend at the minute that like when someone says something, that like not a lot, it obviously doesn't happen a lot, but if someone says something that like I don't like, someone's like complaining about, I don't know, a relationship, or like, you know, like when they'll stereotype saying like, oh god, all men are like this, and I totally get that concept, like whatever, like I'm sure there's things that women do, do you know what I mean? But you know, like when something doesn't sit right with you and you're like, actually I don't want to believe that as a frequency, and I don't believe that, like my soul doesn't believe that, so I'm not going to soak up whatever people put on the table for me. No, like I get to decide.
Absolutely. I think when you're manifesting, you really have to do that.
Yeah, you have to be like so conscious, because you like can soak up everyone else's opinions. Before you know it, you don't even know what your own opinion is and what you think, because you're too busy like just being a sponge, just like agreeing with other people to let them feel comfortable, when actually you don't agree with it at all. That's something I actually keep thinking of lately so much. Oh my gosh, who was I listening to? I really can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but if it comes back to me, I will tag it, because it was a good podcast, and it probably is just going to click later on, but right now I really can't think. But they were saying something really, really simple, but it's just really sat with me. You know when you hear something on a podcast and then it sits with you for like weeks, and you think, like, I know some people say that like, oh, like podcasts can maybe inspire you, or like what was Chris Will saying the other day?
Oh my god, he was just spitting bars on Stephen.
He was.
I
mean, we fully tagged that episode. But he was saying, oh my god, there was a word for it. Like basically, you get, it's like motivation porn in a way.
Oh right.
Do you know what I mean? Where like, say you go to like some kind of event and you're like,
you get all hyped.
Yeah, you're
but it's
so
the discipline
inspired.
You need to carry on.
Yeah, exactly. So like in the moment, you're like, oh my god, like someone could listen to this podcast and be like, yes, these girls make me feel good. It's making so much sense. But then taking no action after it. So it's like he used this word for it. So I was listening to this podcast and I was just saying to you that sometimes you can hear something on a podcast and yeah, it just gives you that little motivational high, but I think you know when it sticks with you when you're still thinking about it like weeks later.
Yeah.
And you're like, that bit of information actually just changed my life, because you start like telling people about, and it was really simple, but whoever it was, I can't remember if it was Oprah, I don't know, was like, no one can make you do anything, like at all. Like no one can actually make you do anything. Very, very rarely do you have to do something you don't want to do. So it's like all the things that we kind of like moan about, or like, you know, like someone does something that disappoints you, it's like you always have a voice and you always have an option to like say when something doesn't sit right with you. And ever since I've heard that on this podcast, I just feel like all around me, and myself as well, I'm being tested where I need to say things, but all around me I'm just seeing so much how people don't speak up and then get like so annoyed. But it's like, that's completely your own fault. Like you've just completely co-created like this annoyance because you've not used your voice. So yeah, I've noticed it all around me, but obviously as well in myself. Like I keep thinking like, where do I need to take more ownership? Like obviously things are always going to annoy you. Obviously we're not like living in this happy weird land with all those rainbows. You're going to get annoyed at things, but like what things do you actually moan about from day to day that like you completely co-created? And like maybe you could actually just use your voice or say something that doesn't sit right with you, or like change your frequency by not allowing people to say certain things when you're trying to manifest something. That like if they say something that doesn't feel good for you, then say it, and if it makes them uncomfortable, then like who cares, I'm gonna forget in like 5 minutes anyway. And like you're like responsible for looking after your vibration, especially when you're manifesting. So I think you have to be like a little bit ruthless and like just take full ownership. Like that's what she was saying. I'm sure it was Oprah. She was like, just take full ownership of your life, like just do it. Like no one's making you do anything. And I was like, it is so true. Yeah, like completely out of the victim mindset. Yeah. And well, I said that I'm putting like so much energy back into myself, so you're probably thinking, well, what is she doing? I'm reading a lot. I'm always trying to read every night and like reading on things. I'm just really not a fiction person.
Well, you read storybooks.
You know, like I'm not.
Yeah, no.
Like from time to time I do like them, but I've got to say I literally just have a self-development whore or something. Yeah. Like I just, you know, I feel like you were just one way or the other. Like if you start reading books like that, you just never go back. Yeah, like when I'm reading a storybook, it's like I enjoy it, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I could be learning something. I know. So yeah, I'm reading like books that really make me feel good on like manifesting and like really intentional energy. Like that I mentioned in the last episode, Nintendo Soul, that's been amazing. Like that what I just spoke about then, about like not being in victim mindset and stuff, like when I heard that on the podcast, like that made sense, because I just been reading it in the book, but it's like in different teachings, do you know what I mean? And you just like think, oh yeah, like it all comes together. I've been meditating more consistently, and it's going to go on my new challenge. And I also did the other night, like, I always like, if I feel emotional or like, I don't know, I feel like in life, like you have to learn ways to like express yourself and express the emotion in you. And I was saying to Izzy this morning, actually, I know we're always on about dancing, but like that dancing really helps me channel my energy.
Oh yeah,
we
went like to dance last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We've been many times since we last spoke.
We have. We're like professional
dancers. We're going
dancers
again this
now.
week, and we're going again next week. Yeah, and we're amazing.
We are. No, it's just so fun. But no, it does. It really helps me like express that energy that can get like stuck inside of you. But yeah, anyway, so when I'm feeling a bit weird, what I love to do is I love to paint and like put my emotions into like paint. And I don't do it enough, to be honest, to say how much it soothes my soul. But the other night I did, but I was like, I really want to, I had this canvas that I don't want anymore. And I was like, I really want to paint over it. But I was like, I really want to like bring some fresh energy with it. So I was like, how can I like do some kind of manifesting ritual while I paint? And I was like, I don't really know. So what I decided to do was I journaled out all the energy I want to manifest into my life, and just like my values in a way, because most of what I want to manifest, like I already have in a way, and like we already have everything we want, but like
yeah, it's like expanding on him, building on him.
Yeah, but like yeah, they're like more like my values, what I do already have, because like most of the things that you want to manifest, like material things, like they don't matter too much anyway. Yeah. Like they'll come and go. So it's like kind of just like what I want my life to feel like. Yeah, so I like wrote it, and I kept writing over the words, and then I like did this painting, and then I ripped up the journal entry stuff and somebody probably thinking that's really weird. Put it into the painting. So I like stuck little bits on and then painted over it.
It's so cool. Yeah,
it was cool. It's like cementing kind of like the manifestation. It's like the energy. And I did do like a meditation and stuff before, because I think like the energy that because I was in quite a nice frequency as well. So it's like the energy I'm putting onto the paper that's coming from my heart, that's going onto the painting, that I can then keep.
Yeah, so much intention.
Yeah, so it's like a vision board. It's like the most abstract vision board you could find. It's absolutely abstract painting as well.
But it means something to you, and like, because I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is cool. What have you been doing? And you were like, can you read what it says? I was like, no. And I was like, I just guessed straight away. Is this your manifesting list?
You just knew.
Because
what else
for me, I
could
feel
writing?
the vibes on it or something. I don't know. But it's like, you know, as long as it like inspires you and reminds you and gives you the feeling of what you want, then it's done its job. That's what vision board's for.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice. Like, I've not really heard of anyone doing that.
Yeah.
And people get like think, oh, I need to stick pictures from newspaper on a thing, and like, and maybe that doesn't inspire you actually.
Yeah, exactly, because it is just all an energy, isn't it? So I suppose whatever you're like infusing into the painting is what it is. So yeah, I would recommend that, everybody. That's just on my side now.
Cool.
In my little zen zone. But that's it really. Just learning on taking accountability, excited for therapy, manifesting.
Spiritual up levels going on.
Yeah, there is. I do feel there's like some well, actually maybe it's to do with this summer like clip season that's coming or something. Yeah, I do feel like some shifts happening. I was saying to Izzy, I keep saying Izzy because she's like just like in the podcast now, but so
you talk to her all the time.
Yeah, I was like, I really feel like you're gonna have quite a big awakening.
I thought you were talking to me then.
Yeah, no, it looked like I was speaking to you, didn't it? No, I was talking to Izzy. But then I also feel like I am.
Yeah, definitely.
And you too. We're all gonna have them. No, but you can feel it. You know, like when you were saying like last year, you kept saying, "Oh, everyone around me is like winning," like so it's like it's just normal for us. You know, when you were saying that.
I can't remember.
Like, you used to always say how like Lacey's in this vibration of like
yeah. So
and
like
me
and what you're around, you all become.
Yeah. So I really feel like the next month or so, there's going to be really big shifts in like our constellation of friends.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was actually thinking like, you know, like you get up, well, we all get up really early and like go to the gym and stuff in the morning, and it's like you just don't even bat an eyelid Not literally. Are you tired? But as in, like, it's just really normal. I think it's really normal because we all do it.
Yeah.
We're all dedicated to training. You, me, Izzy, Lacey, all my immediate friends. No, Izzy's my immediate friend, apparently. Shout out to you if you're listening.
She does listen to those things, she'll be laughing.
Yeah. No, but like all these, you know, like, so it's just like, yeah, it's like brushing your teeth kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I did think that the other day, yeah.
Because like maybe like to people that's really not their habit at all. Like, how the fuck do you get up and do that every day? Or how are you motivated to do that? But I'm like, it's just normal. It's what me and all my friends do.
Yeah.
It's normal.
Yeah, yeah. And because we all do it, you're kind of like, well, why wouldn't I?
Why would you not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not really focusing on manifesting anything really at the minute. Well, kind of am, but also not at the same time. Like, I feel like I was doing that a few months ago, and I'm not. Well, no, what I'm like vibing with right now is like being really, I'm trying to like be very aware of like my thoughts and like trying to be like very conscious of my like behavior. Because I'm such a badly behaved person. No, but like I think you go through seasons where like where you're in now, where you're like really like focused on like calling something in, manifesting something, like bringing in something new, and then you can go into seasons as well where you're like in a new situation, and like with that comes a new awareness of self. You sound like butter. What the fuck am I saying? No, but like this is true. This is true. Like you. As with anything, when you start anything new, like maybe you start a new job, you start a new relationship, you move to a new place, like you will uncover parts of yourself that you didn't know were there, or maybe were there always there, but you didn't have a conscious awareness of them because you hadn't been in situations where they would be highlighted.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm very much in a season of that, of like analysis of self, or like just like growth in that, like. So if I get like annoyed about something or something makes me feel a certain type of way, instead of like acting on it straight away, you were just saying before, if you're annoyed about it, just fucking do something about it. But like I feel like I'm like
no, but I mean more like
complaining and being victim person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like spending like for so long I haven't journaled and like because I just wasn't called to it at all. Like all of last year, whereas recently I've like been picking that back up. I think that's why it's really nice just naturally go to it when you want to.
Yeah,
because when
definitely.
you need it. But there's no point forcing yourself to journal every day if you don't want to do it.
No.
Like if it feels like a chore, it's not going to be beneficial to you. Like, and I've not been doing it every day anyway, but like I've been like getting out, and through that it's like really helping me like recognize like patterns in my like subconscious, because you know like in the subconscious mind, that's what runs, you know, like our lives. Like 95% of our behaviors run by our subconscious mind. So we have patterns in there that all formed from how we view the world when we were younger, and our experiences and our childhood and our positive experiences, our traumatic experiences, like all these things. That's why like focus when you're manifesting, that's why like you want to be, you know, really protecting your frequency, so that you know you're like feeding in good stuff into your subconscious brain, because that's what you manifest from. Like that's where you create reality from. Because it's like your autopilot. Yeah. So if you want to rewire your autopilot, you have to really focus on what you're feeding it, feeding into yourself. But like through life, there's when you get upset by something, or when you're like even something that like makes you really happy, like maybe like you get like praise from a boss and it makes you like elated, and like that doesn't mean that that's a bad thing and it's bad for you to be happy that you got some good feedback, but maybe you're like so elated and put so much self-worth on that, then when you don't get it you're like, oh my god. Yeah. But it's like, you know, even things like that, it's like these heightened emotions of anything you're ever getting, it's an opportunity to like learn more about yourself and grow. So I've been like spending a lot of time like really being in thinking about how I like feel about certain things and what my thought patterns are and where they come from and whether they're healthy or not. To like kind of like uproot things. Yeah. And grow. You know, through my spiritual assignments.
Yeah. But I think even that in itself is like fully getting out of victimhood.
Oh yeah.
Because you're not reacting, you're like, oh actually let's go inwards, why do I feel like this?
Yeah.
That is just like radical responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah, and like there's this quote that I literally put on my Instagram like literally like 6 years ago, and it was like if something along the lines of like about how powerful your words are and like your behavior is, and like to always like let your words heal, not wound like other people, as in like just being like aware of your behavior basically. You know, like, and they say like hurt people and stuff like that, and obviously like sometimes on your path you have to be that hurt person that's hurting other people, because that's what you're meant to be doing, that's like your karma at that point in time. But as in like just that, I think I'm not doing that right now, but as in like it's just very nice. It's important, I think, to think about how you show up.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm saying now. I'm just
being butter.
But
transitioned.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just basically I'm just basically trying to really be quite observational of myself, so that I can be like, I can grow basically.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's like self-mastery.
Yes, I'm self-mastering.
Yeah. A season of self-mastering.
Yeah.
It is. Using every opportunity. Because that's all it is in business, relationships, anything. Like, if you use the opportunities to look inwards, like...
then you can grow and you can get the best out of even like a negative situation and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and also what I've also been doing, like, because I started doing this at the start of the year, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, like, it really fucking worked. Like, and maybe some people listening already like do this, but I started talking to angels.
I don't know what you were gonna say.
You were looking at me then thinking, what?
I was like, what's
she gonna come out with? But like, obviously we talked about spirit guides and all this stuff before, but when we have angels as well, and like angels are just like, well, you know about angels.
Yeah, I pray to angels every night.
Yeah, they're like, you know, they're here and they're like part of the spiritual world, and they're like,
yeah,
they want to be there and like help you.
But part of like the angelic frequency.
Yeah, but they don't have free will. So if you want them to help you in your life, you have to invite them in to help you, and go and like, you want to obviously invite in, you know, good angels. So go and like learn about them and like research them, so that you know that you're like bringing in the good vibes.
Yeah,
you don't be bringing in weird things.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, basically I got really inspired to connect to angels at this, like near the end of last year, and I was like, do you know what, I'm gonna do it. Like, I was like learning how to invite them in and like what to do. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it, you know, why not? And like, I was asking for very specific things, and it all was there. Like, it came into my life, and the synchronicities like of it all was crazy, you know, like when you start to have like a spiritual connection, or you ask the universe for something, or you're trying to manifest stuff, and you start to see synchronicities, you're like, start to notice these little things, and you're like, oh, it's a sign. Like, it makes you realize you're being listened to.
Yeah,
there was so much of that, it was crazy. And now, because I've done that, it then obviously strengthens your trust and connection to that, so you obviously then start to do it more. And it's just a really nice thing to do, and obviously I encourage you guys to do it if you obviously want to, because it works.
It does.
And like, so also throughout this time, like when I felt overwhelmed, like I was saying last week, like I felt emotionally burnt out and all these kind of stuff, like as well, or when I've been like journaling or like aware of my thoughts or whatever, and then I'm like, okay, well, what's the like, where do I want to go with this? Like, what's the answer? Like, what's the next step? I'm not just leaving it all to my brain to come up with the answer. I'm also putting it out to the angels, like to the universe, to like help as well. I think because I keep listening to so much Gabby Bernstein in the minute as well, like I don't know why I'm just like really obsessed with her at the minute. I have never been obsessed with her before. I've always liked her, but I'm like, love her at the minute. Listen to all of her podcasts, listen to all of her YouTubes. I should probably read her books. I haven't read any of them, to be honest.
Yeah,
I should probably read her books and stuff, but just her message, because her message is so much about that as well, and I'm just like really resonating with, like, that's what I'm really absorbing at the minute. So I'm really into like connecting to that, and just not knowing that you're alone, and like, and because if you go and try it, you'll see that it works, then you're like, oh my God, and then you'll do it some more, and it can really be helpful in your life. And it's like, well, if you've got help, why not use it?
Yeah, exactly.
They want to help you.
They do. The angels want to show up for you. I absolutely love working with angels. And if anyone's like thinking, I want to learn more about this, like go and check out our friend Estelle Bingham, because even on her TikTok she's got those videos.
Well, yeah, it was actually filming her TikToks for her. I was like, ooh, I need to do this angel stuff.
Yeah, when she's like, who are you not
to call on the angels? Yeah, there was that.
So
Honestly, it was that TikTok, and I was like, I need to do this.
Yeah, she writes really.
We're gonna link the
angels.
TikTok in the show notes, because everyone's gonna be like, "What are you on about?"
Yeah, we got lots of tags this episode. But no, I highly recommend. At the minute, I think when I'm saying like, oh, I feel good, and I'm like in this manifesting vibration, I think a lot of that as well is to do with like praying to the angels and feeling connected, feeling supported, just calling them in for like guidance.
Yeah.
A friend said to me the other day, whenever you feel weak, like just fall back into the arms of the divine.
Oh,
I know, it's really nice, because then whenever I do feel like that, I'd literally just imagine that, like, and sometimes I feel it, actually. I actually did a meditation in India with Jenny, and we were fully calling in the angels, and literally as I like called in, I felt a hand on my back.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like I do feel it. So like now I like imagine like falling into the arms, like the divine, whether it's in angels, God, the universe, whatever you believe, like it will always catch you and support you, like you're never alone. So it's a really nice, comforting thing.
That is lovely. And also, I forgot to say before, what you were saying when you were like, when you think the universe isn't showing up for you, it actually is even the moments of loneliness when nothing's coming through and it doesn't make sense. When I've been journaling, because I've got my journal back out, it's made me flick back through my journal, which I've hardly filled out of last year, but when I have, it's obviously been in my times of like real need when I needed to journal, and was in like my lower points or like my most confusing points of that period of time. And it was so funny, because I was literally like looking at it, and like at that point in time I was like, not in like desperation, but like was just you're in a bit of emotional distress. You can't see the light really, or like you kind of like just praying and hoping for the light. I think that's what I was doing in some of it. I don't even know, but basically it was so funny, because I looked back through my journal and I could see all the dots connecting, but at the time I was going to my journal to offload because I felt so lost in that moment or whatever, when actually in that lostness was like the gold, and where the cocooning and whatever was, the healing was really happening to create the change in my like future that then now like I see now, but at the time I couldn't see that. So like there's so much value in that time of like pouring energy into yourself, going to therapy, journaling, feeling like shit, feeling low, like feeling lonely, like there's gold in that. Like when you're in the mud, like you're in the fertile mud, because everything's growing out of it. You just haven't bloomed yet.
Yeah, amen to that, sister.
Yeah. And then there's that amazing quote that I'm fucking obsessed with. It was like, when the pain of staying in the bud became greater than the pain of blooming. So like that pain of like stepping outside your comfort zone and doing something different became that option became less painful than the pain of like staying small and staying where you are.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I feel that's a post, that's like emerging from the cocoon stuff as well.
Yeah, after you put into yourself and you're like, now it's time to show up and like absorb the lessons of life. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Go for the mirrors, because when you're in that cocoon stage, you don't have that many. You do still, but you don't have as many mirrors. Do you know what I mean? Like triggers and stuff. Yeah. Because you're in your own energy. Yeah. You still have your
and
own
it's like you're gathering internal strength, I feel, in that time. Yeah. And then you come out of it, and that's why the pain of staying in the bud is bigger, because you have enough strength to go out of it. So you're like actually like you're like getting too big for the bud, and you're like squeezing out of it. Yeah. So you have to let yourself go, and then when you do, it's because you're strong enough and ready to then handle the mirrors that will be there in this new season of maybe when you've been out there and flourishing. I don't know why we're being such like weird poets.
Anyway. All deep. No, it's so true though.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Well, that was just a little chatty catch-uppy episode.
Oh no, we just spoke such wisdom, and that was a shitty. Whatever you just said.
Chitty chatty.
Shitty chatty.
No, I didn't say that. I said chitty chatty. I didn't say
you said that. Well, that was a little shitty chatty.
No.
I was Sorry, right, speak for yourself.
No, I loved that episode. I really enjoyed it. No, I said chitty chatty.
All right, yeah, it was chitty chatty.
Which is, to be honest, a weird thing to say anyway, so sorry about that, everyone. Basically, I'm sorry for this horrible outro.
Yeah, no, like what a juxtapose we went from there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But if you made it to this episode, well done for being dedicated to your own personal growth journey by engaging in this conversation.
Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. We're very grateful for you all listening. You right now, listening to us, we're so grateful. I would be even more grateful if you could leave us a review, let us know what you thought of the show, or what is really, really helpful is if anything in this episode has like touched your heart, or you thought, oh, that's really motivating me, then go and send it to your friends, because like everyone needs this right now. Like so many people feeling a bit lost, so spread the love.
People never don't need a bit of positivity.
Exactly.
So share it around. Do your good deed of the day.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.